Greetings and welcome to the pod. My name is Mark West, and whilst I've been enjoying quite a lot of swimming over this weekend, one of the things I'm not doing is swimming the English Channel. But Sally Catt is, and she's raising money for a good cause whilst she does it. I started by asking her what got her into ocean swimming and what possessed her to take up this monumental challenge.
Well, it was more a matter of osmosis. I was just swimming with the wrong people, and it just slowly influence you. And you get sucked in. But it hasn't been a lifelong dream all my life or anything like that. It sort of crept up on me.
You sound like you have a little bit of a British accent, so this is not a going home and swimming.
Well, I am English, yes, but I've been over here for quite a long time. So, yeah. Which is probably why it didn't appeal so much at first.
Yes.
Because I know that channel. It's pretty sort of horrible, dirty bit of water. So other places appealed more.
Yes, I can imagine.
But after doing those other places, you think, oh, okay. It's the Everest of the swimming fraternity, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, so what made you want to swim the English Channel? Because it's the Everest of ocean swimming?
It was just serendipity, really. But I have been doing the long swims, and I got in with a crowd in Melbourne called Black Ice, and they were just an amazing group of swimmers who, all of them seemed to have swum the English Channel. So you join this group, and they all said, oh, okay, well, when you're going to swim the English Channel. And it was just, and they don't do it with any professional mob or anything like that. They're just a group of random swimmers who swim on a Saturday morning, and I got in with them to swim through winter. So in Melbourne, the temperature goes down to below 10 degrees in winter. And there was always a thing that you had to, become a member of this group. You had to swim, it'd be about 3 kilometres in winter. So after whenever winter starts, 1st of August, you had to swim this 3 kilometres, and the temperatures got down to 10 degrees. So the cold water, and that's without a wetsuit. So the cold water swimming is what I've been doing for about the last 10 years. And it was a bit of a challenge the first time. They said, oh, no, you're not going to be able to do this. You've got to swim every day to get accustomed to it. But I used to just rock up at weekends and give it a go, and found that I could swim in the cold water. And once you know you can swim in cold water, you can keep just going a little bit further and further. And yeah, so that's where the challenge begins, this cold water swimming with no wetsuit. and then you just go a bit further and further and hear about all these people, achieving their goals of swimming English channels and things. And yeah, you just sort of get sucked in.
It's one thing to swim a couple of kilometres in 10 degrees water, and then, how far is the English Channel where you're swimming it? It's over 30 kilometres, isn't it?
So it's 35 kilometres, yeah. 3 Ks is one thing, which is all I ever intended to do, and that was fine. And then you swim further in the summer as it gets warmer, and you start doing these 5K swims, and then everybody says, oh, if you're going to think about the English Channel, which I wasn't, you perhaps aim for doing the Rottnest swim, which is 20 kilometres, but that's warm. So I thought, okay, maybe I will aim for that. All these people are doing great things. So I gave myself the aim of Rottnest and thought that would be my final goal in life of swimming 20 kilometres at 21 degrees. So I trained hard and did what's called the Bloody Big Swim in Melbourne. That's about 11 Ks. And then that's a qualifier for Rottnest. And then I did a few other long ones. And then, when was it? I think I achieved doing Rottnest in 2014. It was a long swim, 8 hours, and I swam well except the last 3 quarters where I was vomiting the whole way. But anyway, I made it.
Oh, lovely.
I know that happens to swimmers. So, but yeah, I got through that one all right. And then you just think, oh, well, what's next? And I thought that was the end of my goals, but we had some friends needing to make up a team in England to do a team English Channel. And I thought, well, that'll be, what's all this hype about doing the English Channel? I thought it was just a dirty stretch of water, but perhaps I should go and have a look at it. So I joined a team There's 6 of us. And when you do a team swim, that means, have you heard about the team swims? Or
No.
basically people go in a team of 6 or a team of 4, and you basically do a relay. So you have to jump in, swim for 1 hour, and keep going in the order of, that you started until you get to the other side. So I did that with 6 people, and that went, I think it was the most beautiful day in England that year, the heat wave, and it was just almost like swimming in the Mediterranean. That went really well.
Oh, wonderful.
And we swam that in about 11 hours. I had a little 14-year-old child with us, and he struggled a bit, but he did it. So by the time you get to the other end, you've got to know the observers well, you've got to know the pilots really well, and they've got to know your swimming style well. And at the end of that, I was there with another girlfriend, Denise. The pilot said, well, you two are good swimmers, I'm going to sign you up. And I, no, don't want to do that. But my friend Denise just said, yep, I want to do that, and I want a training partner. So we literally handed over £400 on the beach as a deposit the next day on a misty day. And I was thinking, yep, okay, I've got the deposit. I think I'll sell my spot. You can see I wasn't totally convinced at first. But yeah, it just kind of creeps up on you that, okay, actually, if somebody else can train similar to me and do it, then really I should give this a go. It's the Everest, and people sort of give you the confidence saying, you can do this. And so I paid my deposit, and the following year, because it's a 2-year waiting list, I paid the next deposit and thought, right, I'm committed. And so yeah, it was a bit of a slow process actually committing myself to the cause. But once locked in, you're in, and you just start training. And
So there's a formal way of doing this. Is there like a formal body that looks after channel swims,
yes,
and they provide the boats and pilots?
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
Okay.
there used to be just one, but now there's 2 formal bodies. There's the CSA and the CSPF, and they tend to be rather rivals. But anyway, the 6 boats go from each group every week or every good tide over the summer period. So you can only really swim the channel from July through to the end of September, because that's when the temperature is bearable. So I think somebody did it when it was about 12 degrees, but that's pretty crazy. People start swimming it when it gets to about 15 degrees. And then
That's balmy for you if you're swimming in 10 degrees.
You blew off 15. I know. Remember, that was only 3 Ks. But then hopefully when I'm booked in the end of September, we've got to, we hope it's almost the peak of the temperature, so it could be around 17 degrees. That's the water temperature. Who knows what the air temperature is? Yeah. So you get this window, and you're either, you get a slot. You're either number 1, slot 2, 3, or 4. And number 1 gets first dibs of that window, which is usually a neap tide. Makes it a little bit easier. The tide's a bit slacker. And so they get to go first with this pilot, and then you have to wait to see if the conditions are right for the number 2 slot. And yeah, people go over there, and quite likely I might not even swim at all because the conditions are never good enough. So it's not just about, can I do it? It's, I've got that week. Are the conditions going to be right? And, I might just never have the right conditions. And they have to see a window of good weather for your estimated time of the swim. And when you're a slower swimmer like myself, that needs a longer period of good weather. So
How long do you think it would take you?
16, 17 hours.
Wow, in one go.
I think it might take 16 to 17 hours. I know. It's going to be a long time. I've just done a 20K this weekend, which took 6 hours 20, but that was beautifully tide assisted and wind assisted. So normally there's going to be double that. It'd be more like, I should have taken more like 8, and then it's going to be more like 16 to 18 hours.
So how often do you need to eat during that? Like, you'll need to eat every hour or something, or how does it work?
You do need to, people have different regimes, but I'm pretty much on a half-hour feeding thing. And, basically every half hour they'll throw you a rope and a drink bottle at the end of it, and you'll take in some food and maybe not a lot of eating. Some people eat a fair bit. They eat cakes and bananas and baby food and what have you. But you can get, as long as you can get enough energy into some sort of drink, it's perhaps a bit easier just to take, your food down in liquid form, and then just keep swimming. But you're not allowed to touch the boat. You have to tread water and then keep going.
Dare I ask about toilet stops?
Toilet stops. Oh look, it's easy to have a wee, isn't it? That's easy. But yeah, the other ones, that's a bit more tricky. But I think sometimes your body kind of almost shuts down and you don't need to worry about it. But sure, that can be an issue, and you just have to potter off and say, look, guys, on the boat, do what you got to do. And yeah, I have once, I admit. It's a little bit embarrassing, but
well, you're in the water for 17 hours. I mean, that's it's got to be part of it. Yeah,
you got to be doing something, haven't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, but weeing's not so hard, but it can be an issue. Yeah, people can get blocked up and all sorts. I mean, diet is the main thing that causes a failure in if you get your diet wrong, things can go wrong. And
So have you had to change your diet during training? You must have a nutrition regime as well.
I've always, because I've been swimming in a group of sort of random channel swimmers, every single channel swimmer has their own advice. And you pick their brains and you work out what to do. But actually there's a lot of organisations, a lot of people now coming on board to be channel trainers, so you have coaches, and there's an excellent lady up in Cairns called Tara Traversi, who's a dietitian for the swimming English Channel thing, and I have actually just signed up with her because she's swum the English Channel. She's also an excellent dietitian, and it's probably better to listen to somebody with that scientific background as well as just it worked for me sort of theory. To get your advice from. So I've sort of been just signed up with her, but basically been following her advice for the last couple of big swims, which is this sort of rotating liquid diet.
Yep.
So you can have a fair team behind. I'm trying to be minimalist, want to do it on my own, but you can have a fair team of people behind you, booking your spot and coaching you. And it didn't used to be like that, but you can get in early if you pay triple the money and all that sort of thing. But
right.
So I've booked my own spot and done all my own payment of everything. And a bit fiddly working with the English system, but you can get there eventually. And you've got to join the Channel Association, and then you've got to send all this medicals and documents and all that sort of thing. It's quite protracted. Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's part of keeping you safe. Yeah.
It's part of you keeping safe. Yeah. Yeah. And then you have to do a qualifier, which is coming up at the end of April. So you've got to do a minimal 6-hour qualifier in 16 degrees or less.
Okay.
So I've got that booked in to do. I think Denise and I, because we're slow swimmers, we'll try and do more than 8 hours if we can, going round and round in circles, Brighton Bath.
Is that in Australia? Is it 16 degrees in Melbourne at the moment?
Not quite yet. It's dropping, but I think April the 28th we're booked in. We always do it the weekend after that day, and it's pretty guaranteed to have just dropped down to that 16 degree mark. You don't want it much less. No. But I've been there. I've swum it before. I've swum Windermere. That's another one I did, which was a long, cold one. So I did a qualifier for that just to make sure I could do it before. So I've done this. I've done 7.5 hours in cold water. And Windermere is a lake in England, and that was about 16 degrees, 17 degrees. And that was another 6-hour swim.
Wow. That would have been quite hard as well, because that would have been freshwater, would it have been, if it was a lake?
Oh, yeah. You think more, but yeah. But every body is a little bit different. I tend to float quite well in lake water for some reason, but men tend to sink. to grab your legs or something. I don't know. So the Windermere was a good experience.
So how much do you train every week? How many kilometres are you doing? If you just did a casual 6 hours on the weekend.
Yeah, you have to do a fair bit. You do a lot in the pool. So we've got a couple of really good pool coaches that do squads, Ironman type squads, and I could potentially do 4 a week, but at the moment I'm probably just trying to do 3, so that clocks up 12 kilometres. And then at the weekend you try and do another 12 kilometres or so, and then you build up. So that, probably should be doing 25 as a regular basis, and then some weeks if you can get up to 35, or do some sort of rotation. You can do about 100 Ks a month in whatever rotation you like. I think that's sort of where I'm coming from.
And then I guess you'll peak in July or something, will you? And then start to taper in? Is that the way it works? Or do you just go hard the whole way?
No, taper probably August. Yeah, maybe August starts slowing down. But you won't be able to do as much bay swimming then because it's too cold. But just try and push the bays, swimming to about 2 hours in the cold water. It's a great journey, and the main thing for me is I like to swim with friends, and people are always there to support you. Kayakers are always, they like this journey and they go along with you, and ex-channel swimmers will support you and go out on long swims, and so it's a very social thing. So although you're doing all this training, you're always out with good mates who are doing similar things or just out there helping you train. So it's not a huge chore. It just takes a fair bit away from your working life and family life. And
it's a fair chunk of time, isn't it, to be able to do it? But
it is a fair chunk of time, and it is quite demanding. But and I don't know that I'll do as much training as some, because I just think, when you're a little bit older, that you shouldn't push it as much. I think on the day you can push it, but if you push it beforehand, you might get prone to injuries. So I'll probably be on the air of caution of not overtraining. And then you've got to think about maybe strengthening. I
was going to say, I guess if your aim is sort of to finish as opposed to break the world record, then pushing yourself in training. But you have to push yourself in training to be able to swim 33 kilometres, so it's not like you're taking it easy.
Yeah, that's right. But no, I'm not trying to break a world record. That's right. So I don't think I'm going to get any faster. You just have to build up your stamina and just keep pushing out those kilometres.
It's incredible.
I guess. But interesting that the dietitian lady who lives in Cairns, so she can't see how we're swimming really, but she's got us to do things like DEXA scans. I'm not sure if you've heard of those. So they'll look at your ratio of fat to muscle and look at your body composition, your bone composition. And then she could assess, okay, because you're supposed to put in about 10% of your body weight in fat, because you need extra fat to keep you warm when you're swimming, which isn't a great thing for a particular female to have to do. Well, I'm enjoying putting on the weight, but taking it off is going to be a nightmare. But so she could look at, okay, your fat requirement is looking all right, but actually it's perhaps slightly in the wrong place, and I think you need to build your muscles up. So there's also the idea of a bit more muscles to build up on the arms, so that they'll survive that time as well. So that means time in the gym, I guess, which is not really my thing, but that's been my recommendation, that I should just actually build up my arm muscles a bit, because they're not quite up to scratch. So there's that to fit in as well.
Is it gym work as well as just plain old swimming?
Yeah, it looks like it. I was hoping to get away with no gym work. I thought swimming would just build up your muscles, but
if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Exactly. It's not easy.
And you're raising money for charity as well. How can we sponsor
I
you?
am. Yeah. So basically, I'm raising money for ANZGOG, which is a charity for mainly ovarian cancers, but it's also the gynecological cancers of any type. And I was inspired by my friend that I've known a long time, and just inspired by her story. As I just reconnected with her in Sydney, an amazing young woman with young kids, and all of a sudden she had this ovarian cancer, and she was devastated, and she pretty much shared her story, and she's out in remission at the moment, just for a little while, but she knows it's one of these cancers. It's very likely to come back. There just needs to be more research in that field, and she's out there promoting it. She's, saying, look, we've got to protect me and other women. And I was so inspired by her work. I thought, and I'm sort of in that field as well, bit of research field in more sort of IVF, but I've also worked on ovarian freezing for cancer patients and things. That's sort of my field of work. And then hearing her story, I just thought, yeah, this is the one charity I'd really like to support. And a great charity. They're just really innovative. They just, very encouraging of what you're doing, and not just, okay, here's one Facebook page, or can we do a charity swim, and can we do this, and what have you. And so it's just really good to be connected with a great group of people working on this charity, and hopefully I can raise awareness and money along my journey. I've got an Everyday Hero page. It's there. I just need to promote it a little bit more, get it out there to people. I can certainly give you those details, and people will see my journey and donate to that charity. And also, hopefully, I can just get the awareness up a little bit about these cancers as well, and maybe do a few charity gigs around the place.
Well, you're organising charity swims as well. I think I saw somewhere along you're doing some in Melbourne.
Well, we're thinking about it. We're trying to get, we're getting hats made for the Save the Box campaign, which is actually one of the big campaigns that this charity does, which is a great catchy sort of campaign, which happens in September, which fits in well with my swim. So people go around, physically with a cardboard box with Save the Box, which you can imagine what we're saving. But we're getting hats made, and I'll either sell these caps or we'll try and organise some sort of swim, some sort of charity swim, which whether I'll do, because it's now coming into winter, whether I'll be able to do before my swim, but hopefully, yeah, maybe one of the twilight swims I'll try and get it to be a charity swim, and people can donate and get a hat and that sort of thing, and raise awareness that way.
When is the big day in September?
The window is 16th to the 21st of September. So I've got a big, so Denise, my colleague, my friend who's doing it at the same time, the one that bullied me into it, we're sharing a big house near Dover. Dover's the pits, but around the area is very pretty. We've got a beautiful house just below the White Cliffs of Dover. She's got a lot of support. She's a New Zealander, but she's got a lot of English support, and we've got Australians coming over to support us on the boat. I've got my entire family coming down in cottages, so even if we don't swim, we'll be walking the White Cliffs of Dover and and having, a good focus around that swim.
It'll be perfect.
But yeah, we will swim. We've got to swim. So, got to swim. The weather would be beautiful. Yeah, it'd be a picnic. So you've got to think positive.
Do you get to stay in France too, or do you kind of immediately jet back?
Yeah, that's very hard. You have to carry a passport with you. If you don't, you can get done by customs. But pretty much
turn you around and swim back.
That's right. Swim back. Yeah, pretty much. You could arrive. You swim through the night, or you swim whenever. You don't know when you're going to start or when you're going to arrive. The ideal time is about lunchtime, and the ideal place is on the beach where somebody will feed you a glass of champagne, which does happen. But more likely you'll arrive in the middle of the night on some sort of rock wall or something, because you have to go. I know. That's where we ended up with our team, in the dark, on a rock wall, and we just touch it, haul ourselves back on the boat, and spend 4 hours getting back. And you're freezing, and you have to have lots of clothes to warm you up.
Oh, really? So you do have to go You've got to go jump straight back in the boat and go home.
Yeah, you do. You go back to Dover. I think there is a possibility. There's a couple of people apparently sort of jump ship. I'm out of here, but it's not easy. It's not normal to do that. I had a friend that wanted to do it, but it was just too hard in the end. You know, it sounds like a good idea, but in reality, you know, the boat takes you back to shore, and you take probably 5 hours to actually warm up properly, because you're okay when you're swimming because you're using all your muscles, etc. You may get pulled out with hypothermia, but if you make it, you will get hypothermia straight away afterwards because you stop swimming and all the heat of your body, and you know your organs start to cool down. So it's really critical that you very carefully warmed at that stage, and yeah, so you won't be sort of just dancing around on the beach. So not for long anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a critical stage. So
It's quite, I mean, it is very cold to put your body through that.
yeah, and you could end up being, I think Denise and I have both got doctors on board, which is handy because there's so many things that can go wrong. The big thing at the moment is something called SIPE, which is swimming-induced pulmonary edema, and that's catching quite a few swimmers. You know, you basically drown your lungs and you start to drown. And that's caught a few people, but you know, you then have to be pulled out and looked after pretty carefully. I've had a few people that spent a few days in hospital with that, and takes a bit of a recovery. So I know that one's sort of really, you know, people have just become aware of that recently.
Is that just through continually ingesting seawater, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Yes. So I suppose if the spray is the wrong way, it's, you know, not so much swallowing because that's going into your stomach, but in just, going down your nose into your lungs and everything. You just start sort of, your lungs start filling up with water. Yeah, so that's one hazard. And you know, vomiting, not being able to keep your food down is another one. And then just your arms giving up. I suppose just, you know, your body just giving up on you, I suppose.
Yeah.
But you can usually, injury can happen. So the main thing is mainly a mental game. Having said that, if something physically goes wrong, then you've got to stop.
Well, there's probably no sharks up there, but...
So, yeah, a few seals and things, but no sharks, jellyfish, and it's the biggest shipping lane in the world, so there's a heck of a lot of tankers that you dodge along the way. Just amazing how they do it. So, yeah, you go through I think it's a southeastern and a northwestern shipping lane, and it's pretty busy.
Wow.
So that's the main thing that you're dodging.
Are you tempted to...
Not that glamorous, really.
Oh, well, are you tempted to parlay this into, you know, ice swimming or something? I saw recently there was some winter European swimming championships going on, and they swim in, you know, less than 5 degrees.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's another thing that swimmers have to do once they've, you know, is the ice mile. So you have to swim 1 mile in, I think, 5 degrees or less. So that's on my list.
Well, there's not many places in Australia where you can do that.
No. I think I would go back to England to do that one. Maybe the Lake District or something, because it's so beautiful there. No, I think you'd have to be doing it in some exposed lake up in the Highlands somewhere, and then you wouldn't be near anywhere, because you need to be near somewhere where you can warm up and, you know, have a hot cup of tea and all that sort of thing.
That's right,
so
yeah.
It's very hard to do it in Australia, but yeah, that's quite a thing. People are definitely doing the mile and the ice mile. So yeah, that's on the list.
Well, yeah, and unless you're up in Iceland or somewhere, the ocean rarely gets that cold. But if you're really north, you can do it in the ocean. But I think you're right. Most people end up doing it in lakes, Europe or England or somewhere.
Yeah, they do. There's one. I'm from Yorkshire, and I've certainly seen people doing it in these Yorkshire lakes, so that might have to be an aim of mine later on.
Oh, it'd be incredible. I kind of think about it sometimes, and then I realise I'm pretty wussy just getting into 21-degree ocean water. So
are you a swimmer as well?
A slow one. I certainly couldn't swim 33 kilometres.
Oh, well, I would have said exactly the same, 6 years ago. Yeah. So you get sucked in. So I think my first swim where I thought I was doing really well was a 5K one, which is a Coogee Bondi years ago.
Yeah,
I used to live in Sydney. That was a major achievement
on
for
my
me
list.
to do 5Ks. Yeah, do that one. That's good.
I've got some friends that have done that. I mean, I've done a 5K swim, but in the harbour, and it's much flatter than Coogee to Bondi. I heard about this year's Coogee to Bondi, and it was pretty bumpy.
Oh, was it bumpy? Yeah, I did it. I think I did it the first year it was on or something. And it was, that to me then was a huge deal. You know, could I swim 5Ks? And that wasn't that long ago. So watch this space. You'll be swimming the channel in 10 years' time.
We'll see. I don't think I barely get 1 kilometre of training in, let alone the 25 kilometres of training you're doing every week.
Well, yeah, sounds like you've got young children. That happens. Mine are 19, 21-year-olds, and they just get ignored now.
They can go training with you.
But yeah, no, I couldn't have done it. No, they don't. They ought to think I'm mad.
Well, they might be a little bit right.
But, yeah. Well, they might. I've got a very good husband who cooks a lot. Yeah, putting my weight on. So, but no, they're
I mean, you've
tolerant.
found something in which you can eat a lot and do something you love. I mean, it sounds almost like the perfect hobby to me.
It's not bad, is it? Really?
No, it's awesome.
It's not bad. Yeah. I know. I'm really enjoying eating, but I'm just a bit nervous about how it will come off. Probably won't, but yeah, it is. You know, it's the perfect hobby. You know, you're swimming with friends. You can eat as much as you like, and you just have to keep swimming. But, yeah,
you're just going to have to keep doing it when you're after this.
Yeah, the thing is afterwards, whether it's a success or a failure, apparently people get a bit. So you have to have a new goal. You have to always have a goal, otherwise you can get a little bit low. I mean, swimming actually for me, there was one time I just suffered a wee bit of depression at one point, maybe 3 years ago, and it was all my swimming friends said, book in for this swim, do this, and it was probably the swimming that got me out of it, you know, just having a focus. So it is very good for mental health. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
I think it's all round, it's very good.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Does anybody ever swim back from France, or do the currents not allow that?
They do. There's 3 people have done a triple in the world, and there's several people done doubles, so they go there and back. People used to swim from France all the time, but then the French just were not into it for some reason, so it's always from England. And there's a lady we swim with, Chloe McCardle, who attempted a 4-way last year. She didn't make it, but she's one that's done a triple. She's an amazing swimmer. She's about 30-year-old or whatever, and very fast, and was going for the quadruple, the 4 laps, as she called it.
4 ways. So that's over 130 kilometres or so. I mean,
which is pretty incredible.
A lot of kilometres.
That's just crazy.
In one go.
Yeah. So she didn't make it. I think she had the breathing difficulties after 2.5. But yeah, she trained well for it. So
But that's. I mean, I can't get over how long that would even take. I mean, that's over a day swimming, right? It would take even somebody very fast.
Yeah,
it'd still take it's over 24 hours.
It's
wouldn't
crazy. Yeah, so she could do one way in about 9 hours. So that's 9, 18. Yeah, about 36 hours would be her aim, which is incredible amount of swimming. But yeah. So I have to think of her all the time, and I think, I've only got 17 hours. So I've got to think positive.
Yeah, that's right. Yours is easy.
Exactly. There's always somebody doing something tougher. And most people are very ordinary that do it. There's very normal, ordinary people that just have this sort of fascination. 3 of the women, similar age to me, all attempting it this year. So whether we'll make it or not is a different matter, but I don't know what gets into us.
It's a pretty exclusive club. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is an exclusive club. If you can get there, just give it a go.
Well, that's it for this edition of the pod. Thanks very much to Sally for taking the time to chat. And if you would like any more information on anything you heard in this episode, or you'd like to find the link to sponsor Sally for her swim, get over to our website at www.thepodpodcast.net. That's www.thepodpodcast.net. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you next time.